If you're a real estate agent and you're still struggling signing the buyer representation agreement, this video is for you. I made a similar video a couple of months ago. It's actually doing really good on YouTube, so I wanted to make a follow-up video because some of you are still, which I'm having a lot of conversations, are having a little trouble with mindset. Number one. And number two, a little bit of technical stuff, which I'm going to go over this video as well, but I want to touch on the mindset a little bit because a lot of you think that it's you who made that rule. It's you who need that signature on the agreement, and you have a problem with it. Because I want to say, because right here, number one thing I need you to remember is that it's not you. You have to remember that if you're having a trouble with like communicating why you need this agreement signed, first thing you have to remember is that it's not your own rule. It's not your office. It's not your local association that created the rule. It's the whole United States. Everybody goes and works by the same rule. Now, everywhere the buyer goes, they will have to sign representation agreement. Sometimes there's a showing agreement, which we have in our office, before it gets to the buyer representation agreement. Sometimes it could be non-exclusive, sometimes it could be exclusive. But you have to just remember, it has to be signed before showing houses. You have to stop on the red, and you don't go on the red. The same thing here. Everybody follows the rule. Yes, sometimes here and there, there's guys that's going to do something that's not really by the book, but it's their own problem. It's not your problem. You work the way now the whole industry works. And now, once you have that locked in, now once you remember and understand that this is not you, and I understand this could be your first client. This could be your very first client that you worked for so long, and now they're saying, well, we're actually going to sign it once we see it because I don't want to pay the commission. And so now you have to know that technicality. As soon as you have this in your head, because I remember when I started in the business, I was like with the pre-approval. Should I have it? Should I not have it? Experienced agent telling me that I should have it before showing houses. But why not just show it and then have that pre-approval? It's like you don't have these rules. Now, if you ask me to show a house, I'm not going to show it without pre-approval, but it's because I've been in the business for so long. It's because I've sold hundreds of houses. It's because I have this experience and confidence and brand because I know that leads are coming, still coming. And so I can dictate my own rules. And I know what you're dealing with when you have your only one client. And now I have to do this agreement, but it's not the same as a pre-approval where you can, with a pre-approval, you can actually show homes without it and still keep working on them getting the pre-approval. Here, it's a national, change that every single agent has to follow. If you're a member of NAR, which in a lot of states you have to be a member of NAR to get access to MLS, because without access to MLS it's hard to work, so you need the access to MLS, so you have to be an NAR member, you have to follow Code of Ethics, so you have to follow this rule and all things. So first thing is that you have to understand, it's not you, it's national. Everybody follows the same rule. Number two, when we're talking about commission, when you go through the script and you're touching on points like term, how long we're going to have an agreement, and the commission you expected to earn, and the duties you're going to do for your client, which you have to learn, at least 5-10 of them that you're going to be doing for your buyer, at least, because they're going to be interviewing. And I'm going to talk about interviews in a little bit. But number two is a commission, and never stop on the fee and move on. Touch on the fee and spend a little bit of time on that fee, because a lot of clients of yours are not going to be asking questions because they think, first, they feel uncomfortable asking the questions and they think that question could be stupid. So you have to answer the question before they ask. So once you say that this is the commission I'm expected to earn on helping you find and buy the house successfully, and this is my commission, but I'm going to ask the seller to pay it. And if the seller doesn't want to pay, which mostly what we see right now is most of the times they still pay, but in case we find that house when the seller doesn't pay, I'm going to let you know, and maybe you will be the one who's going to pay the difference. Or maybe if you don't want to pay the difference and you're not comfortable with bringing more money out of pocket, or maybe you don't have any money out of pocket, no one pays and we move on. You have to touch on it because they don't know that's possible. Maybe as soon as they wrote an offer, they think that now somebody has to pay, and if the seller doesn't pay, I have to bring the money out of pocket. Well, I actually have this much money and I don't have enough money, so I'm not going to be able to bring that money. So you know what? I'll pause on my home buying. So you lost a buyer. That's the thing that's going to happen. And because you're not explaining it, that never arises, and you don't even know that this is an issue. Number 3 that I have here is you don't owe if you don't buy. So if the seller doesn't pay and you don't want to pay, you don't need to buy, and so you don't owe anything. So that's one other thing that you need to explain, because some buyers might be signing the agreement thinking that they now have to buy in this time frame, or they have to pay. Yes, it doesn't say so. Yes, you never said that, but they might think. So you have to touch on it. You have to tell them that you don't have to buy. And if you don't buy, you don't pay, which is my first thing. You don't have to buy. So don't have to buy, you don't pay, and if you don't want to pay, we move on if the seller doesn't pay. Now you say, finally you have to say that what we see right now, and right now is December 26th, which is when I'm recording this video, 2024. If we're in the spring 2025, things might shift a little bit, because there's going to be a lot of buyers, and there's going to be a lot of multiple offers, and a lot of buyers will be covering their own agent, and some agents will be working for a discount fee and this and that. They're going to be doing less. They're going to be maybe working somewhat for free because they're going to get a listing on it. There's going to be some changes because there's going to be a lot of buyers. So far from August 17th till the end of the year, we've seen most of the buyers, sellers, pay the commission, which I would like to say to my buyers to make them feel more comfortable. So that's that. And one more thing I have here is I have the word don't, which I wanted to finish up on the video, is when you have somebody who is asking you for discounting your fee. Of course, remember, the real estate commissions are always negotiable and always will be. There's no set price, so it's always negotiable, just a disclaimer. But there's some number that you worth and you would like to get for doing the work, right? And you might get a client who says, you know what, this is the property I want to buy, well, let's go. But before we go, I know I have to sign the agreement, but let's sign for half of it or such a little fee because I already found the property. You don't really have to do anything. What you're going to end up having is probably you're going to write. Maybe you're not even going to write, but you already have an agreement. But I'm talking about writing an offer on the property. Maybe you're going to write an offer on the property. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think this is going to be an easy transaction. You're going to discount your fee big time. But it ends up being not an easy transaction. It ends up being not getting a deal and then working and showing and writing and canceling and writing again and all that jazz for another could be whatever. And you're not going to feel comfortable re-signing because you already signed for something very low, very, very little fee, because you thought this is going to be easy. You might get you might get trapped with this. So always remember, my script would be, let's do X. This is what I would like to expect. If this becomes a deal, this one, I will squeeze. I will drop. I will make it cheaper for you. Because then you won't have to come back and renegotiate. You will have a better deal for them after today. You know, you say, I'll usually like to see this. I'll usually like to do this. But if you're going to be ending up buying this one, we'll make Y.